Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Going into our 25th year. Welcome aboard. We got tons of information for you this morning. A great show all set up for you. We have a whole panel here. I'll start off with, I'm Harvey Freed. To the right of me is Harry Glantz.
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, everybody. Great to be here. It's, you know what? Weather's turned finally. We stole the whole month of October, half of November, and it's now going to be wintertime, my man.
Harry, I'm glad you told me. We got to go around the panel here real quick. But Michigan State did win that game
Finally
last night.
won,
Ooh,
pulled
boy.
it out. Yeah, they scored 0 points in the second half.
Oh, boy.
But a win's a win, man.
We'll take the W. All right, let's
Win's a
go
win.
around the room here real quick. We've got John Kolb to the left. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Happy to be here.
John's only got 80 million years in mortgage industry, so he's got lots to share with us this morning. Nancy Warson, Real Estate One. How you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Part of that whole Real Estate One community, Max Brook, Real Estate One. I don't know.
Yada, 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 yada.
Yeah,
Keep
she
going.
sells a lot of homes. She's got a lot of class, a lot of style. We're going to talk about inventory and why now's the time. And the best on way over here with the New York Yankees hat on. I didn't even recognize her over there. Becky Yaley, top 1% of all originators. Hey, Becky.
Good morning, everybody. And yes, I feel like November went by like a flash in the pan or a splash in the pan, but the snow made me want to hit the slopes and start snowboarding. So I was a little bit pumped about that.
Yeah, we love the snow here, but I mean, the slopes last year, they took a beating, man. I don't think anything
We
was
haven't
open.
had good snow in a while, and I know John skis, and you
Yeah.
know, so around here he's like, nah, I don't even waste my time.
I
John's
don't
in
ski-
Switzerland or
I don't
something.
ski around here.
Yeah, he's like
He's
Switzerland.
like peasant.
John's a ski snob. You got to love it. He's like part. He has a card in his wallet. It says that I'm the ski elite. That's what he's part of the ski elite. John.
I do buy a season pass for out west, but that's just because it's better out there.
Yeah, he's a baddie when it comes to skiing. So
Yeah,
hats
he's
off to
real.
them.
And he also heli skis. He does that helicopter stuff.
They drop him
go
off
over
at the
that,
back
and
of
then
the
they drop
mountain.
him
Yeah,
in. He does that.
see that guy.
Takes a little skill. Yeah.
Extreme sports. He
work.
can handle it.
He's older now, so it's probably a little slower. It's probably a little, I got him first. I got him first.
He's trying so hard.
John is old now, everybody out there. He always busts on me for being the old guy in the room. I'll wear it. I've got no problem. I'll own it. But John is getting older now. He's got the gray around the temple. He's wearing glasses now.
Yeah.
He can't see quite as well. Good for you, John.
It's all right. You're still upset about the candlelight comment last time.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Hey, that's all right. I got the bats in the cave in my house. It's good.
So you like open up the shutters. You're like, you there, boy. What day is it?
That's right. Exactly. Says his stocking cap on.
Nancy, I don't know why I wrote this on the show. I got to cut in here. These guys are just talking their own thing here. I wrote this on my outline. Home buyers have gained some leverage in the housing market over the past year. Really? I don't know. Home values keep going up. I wrote it. Whose way is it? A seller's market now? Is it more of a level market?
Say that. What was the title of it again?
I wrote it. Home buyers have gained some leverage over the last
Home
year.
buyers have gained some leverage.
Home buyers.
Home buyers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me how.
If you bought a home, you are a home buyer. You've gained some equity. There's
There you go.
leverage,
Yes.
right?
Okay. If
So
you
you can
bought a home,
look at it that any different way. If you want to look at it as somebody who's still out there in the market, they still have some leverage because there's now considerations being given, right, Nancy? You're starting to see some concessions. You're starting to see some occupancy isn't always 100% free.
Yes, there's starting to be a little bit of some changing in the market, some shifting. There isn't, a lot more inventory, but there is more inventory. And let's be honest, life happens. And the buyers have now, those that, are getting married, getting divorced, having babies, unfortunately death. Life happens. You just have to move. So I think that people aren't necessarily so concerned about what the interest rate is. It's the new normal.
Yeah, that is the new norm, and that's what's going on. I'm glad you brought up the rates. Everybody thought that back in the fall that, the Federal Reserve said they're going to lower rates. At the time, they said they're going to do it 3 more times this year, and then they're going to start an easing process for 2025. Well, we got to pump the brakes a little bit on that. We have to pump them because, the rates, even though the Federal Reserve lowered the Fed funds rate, mortgage rates haven't followed. As a matter of fact, they've gone the opposite way. So I did hear that, people are getting used to the fact that maybe 2025 isn't going to be the year that they thought, like interest rates going down to 4, which we've said not going to happen. They could approach 6, which we've told everybody that that's where it's going to go, but they will come down. It's going to be an easing process that's going to be slower than people want because everybody wants it to go down right away, Becky. It
Nothing
just doesn't
happens immediately.
Nothing happens like that immediately. They always go up faster than they go down.
The rates fall up the stairs much faster than they're going to fall down the stairs, and that's the reality. I do think we're going to probably see high 5s at best, but it's not going to be like this immediate, regression that everyone thinks, like you said. what people need to understand is that where they need to see that they're going to see that immediate Fed fund decrease is when you got that notice on your credit card and you got that announcement that your APR dropped a little bit. And where that's going to help the buyers, I think the article maybe was more, people miss it. It's going to help with the affordability. Right now people are overextended on their car loans or overextended on their finances, and people have been refinancing even when it wasn't cool, like even 6 months ago, because they overbought the last couple of years. That's the truth. And so people have been refinancing or selling because they can't afford the taxes or they can't afford the finances because they romanticize these lower interest rates, but they didn't think down the road. Like we really advise our clients like, hey, these taxes are going to uncap. You have to be able to afford this house. Do you really want to do this? And ultimately, we're the backseat driver that talks a lot. But now I feel like the reality is set in for some of these buyers or that were buyers, and that's why they're maybe selling or they have been refinancing the whole time.
Yep.
248-539-9797. We're going to take your calls all morning long. The inventory was up 29% from last year. The October numbers came in up, but still 21% down from the inventory of 2019. So, yeah, there's more homes on the marketplace. I've seen some really nice homes. I've seen some questionable homes on the marketplace. And I've also seen those corner lots, those some obsolescent homes that might have something going on, either a corner lot on a busier street. Seen a few more of those type of listings pop up.
Well, I think that there's a house for everybody. And even though some people might be deterred from a corner lot, some people like a corner lot because it's two ways in. Some people like main roads because it's going to be plowed first. Some people, want to be no neighbors. And other people are like, no, I need to talk to people. So, there's a house for everybody.
Right.
And I think that, really it's just the variety pack is coming more available to us. And I think that the word has finally gotten out. Hey, we have low inventory. So those people who thought that maybe they had a unique property, maybe is now my time.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, too, because there's a house for everybody and there's lack of inventory, like, right now, this is that seasonality where it's like a typical slowdown. But we haven't seen that because, like, if you do it right, you're always busy. But when we say, like, it's always a good time to buy, we're talking to the person that really is a good time to buy. And this is that moment where there is lack of competition. So if you cannot be deterred by the holidays, I'm going to wait till the first of the year. It's always like, I'm going to wait till spring. I'm going to wait till the first of the year, right? If you can get in there and throw your hat in the ring right now, you will come up clutch and you will win because you can get concessions right now. Sellers are willing to bend a little bit because there are life circumstances where you have to forego those properties. You have to transfer to different states. And if the house is a little bit less than kept up, you can get some concessions if you have a strong selling agent and buying agent like Nancy next to you.
Yeah, the number one best benefit of buying right now during the holiday season, you might not have to host.
Hey.
I'm just moving in. I can't cook, so you got to go to someone else's house.
That happened to me. Like, I always host Christmas, and we bought a house in 18, and the timing of it and then the renovations, I was like, I'm going to not host. But then it got dumped on my brother, and then he ended up having all the holidays. So then I took that back because he was gracious to take it.
You missed it.
Wouldn't you rather host? Like, we're having 24.
I like hosting. I do.
We're
really
having 24
like
for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't you want to host because that means you get to do everything your way and you have more food and you have the most of everything? Who cares about the cleanup and bringing up the chairs and setting up all that kind of thing? When you host, you get to do it your way, John.
Yeah, well, you also have to cook.
No. You have to cook.
Oh, that's right. Here, do you guys cook or do you order that turkey in?
My wife and Nick does, and my son-in-law.
Of course he does. You know why? Nick's a real man.
That's right. Guess what? And I'm old, John. And I have a first floor primary because I don't have to walk the stairs.
Is it finished?
Oh yeah, it's all done now. Oh yeah, that's right.
Hey
exactly.
Guys, most of the Midwest, North, East, South, Southern Cal, different areas of the country. They're still lacking the inventory up there. Something that happened in Florida was pretty interesting. We're starting to have these crazy hurricanes. And it is deterring some folks from that west coast of Florida. So we have seen a little bit of that, but it's really put a burden on a lot of the families. As you know, we do all 50 states, so we'll talk about that a little bit. If you're thinking about that vacation home again, winter's starting to sneak in here. Harry, your age, people are
my age. Here we go again. Well, first of all, when is a hurricane not crazy? And second of all, they just didn't invent them.
No, but they're getting
Florida. So Florida's always been where Florida is, and hurricanes have always been crazy. So I don't know people that are being deterred. Now, if you want to talk about what the cost of insurance is.
Right.
Correct statement.
Go ahead.
Is it an insurance show, though?
Yeah, go ahead. Right. No,
I put it in.
So, it was talk around the water cooler, right? When all these hurricanes were happening, and how many people do have homes in Florida. And so, those that were thinking about purchasing a home in Florida, oh, well, I'm waiting for mom or dad to pass away, and then I'm going to buy this home in Florida. Oh, well, wait, maybe we aren't now, based on the cost of insurance. And I think what might happen if we're going to see around corners is that all of our insurance is going to look a little bit differently. We're going to see right now a little bit higher insurance,
Yes.
but you know what? I think it's going to all go catastrophic. And it's going to be like, hey, you know what? You need a new roof? Good, put it on. You need this? Good, put it on. Unless you're wiped out, we're not covering you.
Yeah, I agree
mean,
with that. We're going to get some insurance agents on with us because this has been even like my sidebar conversations. I had a very deep conversation with, we have a lot of good relationships, in the industry, and one of them is home with people that do insurance because obviously you're buying a home, you have to have homeowners insurance. We want to make sure people are covered. They don't understand, so we have those conversations. But I even had a buyer where we closed. He had insurance and the things, and then the insurance company did some inspection after the fact, and then said, "Hey, we can't cover you because this roof was less than desirable." So now that's affecting my buyer, who we didn't own it prior to that. It passed all of our inspections. It passed his private home inspection. So this is a huge issue industry wide where people are losing their insurance, and we have to
It's
figure
a
that
cop
out.
out.
Yeah.
They're copping out. And, the trees on your neighbor's yard are too tall and covering your house. Well, it's my neighbor's tree. What do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
I mean, that happens
But if it's on your property,
It's definitely going to be an insurance thing, and that's a whole other conversation for sure.
All right, we're up against our first break here. Keep it on 97.1 The Tick. We take your calls, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, 9:15. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Coming up on our 25th year, bringing you some great information. When experience counts, you want to give us a call. Capital Mortgage Funding. They're the sponsors here. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We are powered by CMG Home Loans, NMLS 1820 Equal Housing Lender. Again, reach us at 1-800-LOW-RATE. When experience counts, especially in today's marketplace, get more professionals involved. And we'll definitely hook you up. Nancy Warson joins us from Real Estate One. Tons of information. We were talking about insurance. Harry's over there with the yes. Harry, let's go for it because
Sure.
I had a strange call too, Harry, this week. I had a friend who always has a house in Birmingham. It's a rental. She got a call, she said, from a stranger. And that was the beginning of it. I said, what were they saying? She said, the lender was calling me to tell me I should pay off my mortgage early. I'm like, oh, that's a scam. All of a sudden, she's thinking about giving people her routing number, her checking account number. Yeah. We're not doing that.
Don't you scam my grandma. Don't you dare.
It seems that every year around the holidays, especially because people are very vulnerable, they're feeling very emotional. You get a lot of email, you get a lot of text, and everybody, if you can see us on camera, you get a lot of mass mailers to your house. And you know what? If you don't have somebody to call us at the office, and we will walk you through it. Do not ever give anybody your checking, savings account numbers, routing numbers, money over, your credit card information, unless you know who you're dealing with. And listen, I'm telling you this right now. The IRS doesn't make phone calls. They don't call you and say you owe them money. They don't do it that way.
Neither does your lender.
So your lender they have to send you a notice in the mail. Now, beware of notices that they reference other lenders because they buy lists. Lists of mortgages are public information. So they're going to try to scam you out of it. And also, when you call a lender, you call a credit card company, and you have them run a credit report, you're going to get what's called
the bottom feeder effect.
They're public record, they're trigger leads, and they're calling you. And there are companies that make a living out of calling you up and trying to scam you out of money. Don't do it. Give us a call. We'll run it for you. We'll check it out. We'll run it down for you. And I can't wait. And when I call other lenders, John, they get angry at me because I've busted them.
Right.
And I love doing it. It's entertainment value and also consumer advocacy for me to go ahead and check these people out.
Just to push on Becky's bottom feeder comment, because that's 100% correct. I had pulled credit on a client this week, and they got a call from one of these trigger leads, and the broker called them saying, "Oh yeah, you just submitted your application with us. Let's get your documents and let's get you going." They didn't work with us. That's a flat out lie.
They will say anything they can. And when I called this one broker up, he called me back 3 times to try and yell at me and say, "Don't call my people up."
Yeah.
Listen, I'm only calling you to tell you that your people are using our company as a hook to go ahead and try to scam other people. Just don't do it. I said, just don't do it. I said, I'm not going to report you, which I should call Lansing, the Attorney General's office, but I'm not going to report you. If you keep calling me, I will, but just don't do it that way.
Right.
So the notices that they look legit, and if you're just scanning it, it looks real. So if you don't know what it is, text it to us, right? Whether it's you, whether we're your servicer or not, or you did even business with us, we will quickly identify no, this is trash, and move on from it, because there is scammers out there, and there's people that are older. There's people that even when you're going through the home buying experience, it's very confusing. It's emotional. There's a lot of people sometimes that reach out, and when you're getting these phone calls, it can be very confusing. We are overly explaining that, hey, you might get a phone call or two from these people. We're going to put you on the do not call list. We do the things to make sure that you're protected, and there is legislation out there to stop this kind of nonsense, but it hasn't passed yet. We're doing all the things as industry-wide to protect the consumer, because you have these people that call, John, and they lie, and they don't know any better, because I have a team of people that work for me, and I have to write down all these people's names so that way you know who's working for me and who's working for you, and these people are not. And when someone is calling for lies, I feel like that's just bad karma. It's going to come back around anyway, but stop confusing people, because home buying can be confusing as it is, and it shouldn't be. So stop harassing these people, because if they wanted to call you, they would have. So don't call them.
So seniors are getting scammed right now, left and right.
Yeah, I can't.
And
you leave my grandma alone.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Why do you keep looking at Harry when you say that?
No, I'm just saying. No, he knows, because he loves Grandma Allie.
I do. I love Grandma, but he's busting on me for being old. So I'm protecting my age group. All you boomers out there, don't give information over the phone to people you don't know. I mean, how tough is that? I mean, come on.
Be very careful. It's another warning from us again at the closings. You're already going to get a copy of your deed. It's a recording. And sure enough, after you close, a lot of clients call me up. They're getting some stranger email or a call or a piece of letter saying, hey, send me $90 for a copy of your deed. You already paid for it. So again, deal with more professionals. Ask these questions. Call us at Capital at any time, and we can clear the air for you and just make sure you don't do anything crazy.
Absolutely. Numerous times I've had customers call me and say, hey, listen, I've got this stack of mail and I don't know what's real and what isn't. And, can you help me go through this kind of stuff? And, even as a realtor, I'm like, wow, this is a lot. Yeah. And, I help them weed through it. But I mean, you're right. It can be confusing.
It's like the car. It's like the car warranty BS.
Lord.
OMG.
I've got that here too. I have checks here. I have fake checks here totaling like hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've been approved for.
Right. I always say, when you get the stuff in the mail, you start at the bottom, at the way bottom of the sheet, and it says not affiliated with your current lender.
That's a good idea.
Or what Harry's holding up, this is not really a check.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, it comes in official looking envelopes, and they market it really well. Mm-hmm. But again, you've got to read the whole thing.
Start at the bottom.
Yeah. And don't try to cash that check.
Got it from the bottom, now we're here.
All right, Nance, here's the good news. Listen to this. 2019, the average home price, median home price in the U.S., this is the whole U.S., $292,560. We'll call it $293. They brought the numbers in just last month. 432,000. I once in a while will still get a weird ticket text that says, you guys are just plugging home ownership. There's a reason why. You homeowners, it's already been proven, are wealthier.
We're a mortgage show. Why wouldn't we plug home ownership?
We are. But the facts that home ownership, that's a great way to have wealth. And it sets up your credit and all these other things. And we were talking earlier about insurance. It all comes together. Get that credit score up because insurance costs are going up. Another reason why your credit score needs to be as high as possible. Other reasons and things you can do. Listen to shows like this. Find out what you can do to keep your credit score higher. So when the renewal comes up on your homeowner's insurance, on your car insurance, you're ready to plug in and you can get the lowest possible rates.
Absolutely. Everything's going up. So, I mean, why not your credit score too?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Get on board.
Anyway, I time and time again hear homeowners say, oh, I should have bought last year. Oh, I should have bought last year. Oh, I should have bought last year. And really and truly, John and I talk about this all the time. Buy now because it's so much less expensive. If you're just letting the whole interest rate hold you back, you're costing yourself a whole bunch of money. So really and truly, who knows what, I don't have a crystal ball. If I did, I tell you right now what the interest rates are going to do, what the home prices are going to do. But I have a really good idea that they're probably going to go up based on supply and demand.
Well, you're talking about the coulda, shoulda, woulda, right?
Well, that too. Yeah.
And that's that's a tale as old as time. And when we are talking about the, real estate market and what you're doing is you're right. There is even if you're like a 2% appreciation, throw your hat in the ring now because the interest rate is irrelevant. You want to focus on locking in the price of the home because if the prices of the home have been steadily increasing over the last, since 2012 even. It's consistent. You can see it. We have the data. We look at it.
And really and truly, last year we were predicting that the rate of inflation was going to be around 4%. Well, guess what? We were wrong. That's around 6%. What's the interest rate? Oh, around 6%. Oh, isn't it a wash? You could kind of explain it away.
Right.
But when the moment happens, though, like if you are paying $2,100 in rent, why not pay $2,100 on a mortgage payment that you are parking your car in your own driveway?
Right.
Legacy, you're building your own wealth. And sure, if you want to build a real estate portfolio and be a landlord, and build that.
Call me, I got some properties.
Yeah, you can do that too, but start with yourself first.
Right. Even at 0% appreciation, you're still winning because you're, like Becky just said, you're paying down your mortgage. You're investing in yourself instead of somebody else.
Yes, and it's not that expensive. You have your standard maintenance, but we talk about those things with you. We're not your average loan officers. And even if you're not working with us, we still have conversations with you, even when you're working with other lenders, because we genuinely care about putting out good information. That's what the show is here for. So call us. We want to know what your experience is like. And that's what we're here to, hit us with it, because between all of us, I don't think there's been a scenario that we haven't come across. And if we haven't, we're going to get the answers for you, because that's what we do, because we genuinely care. Not what you're doing right now, but what you're going to do 5-10 years from now.
I actually had a customer who, and kudos to John, I had referred her over to John, and she said, wow, John spent over an hour on the phone with me and he explained everything that was going on. And I tell you, I I don't know why my other mortgage people that I was talking to didn't explain this. She said, now I have a much better idea of what this is all about.
Because they don't know. And John is really good at that. He's knowledgeable, but he's also speaking to you like he would his own family members. And he's not going to tell you something that he wouldn't do himself. And he's very well versed in all those arenas. And so anyone that works with John Harvey or anyone at Capital Mortgage Funding,
Right.
they're very well off. Yes.
Hey, we're going to go to our first caller this morning. If you'd like to join the show, it's 248-539-9797. And we've got Leo on the line calling in from Naples, Florida. Hey, Leo, what's happening?
Hey, how guys doing?
Morning.
Question for you guys. About 6 months ago, I refinanced my home in Michigan. And the reason I did that was I purchased a second home in Naples, and I needed to pay cash for that second home. That's how the market was. You pretty much had to pay cash. So I refinanced at 6.875, 8-year ARM. I was at 2.875, but I needed the equity out of that home. And now I'm hearing you guys talk about interest rates not really coming down. So what I'm doing now is I'm paying, it's an interest-only ARM, but I'm paying around $6,000 a year principal, plus once a year on January, I put another $50,000 down. It's a $500,000 mortgage. And I'm just wondering, is that the right strategy? Because of this high interest rate, I'm paying almost.
I mean, you're in an interest only loan, so it's everything that you're throwing extra to it is going to go to the principal. So yes, of course, it's a good idea, unless you have something better to do with that money. I mean, that's up to you and your financial advisor to make a decision.
Yeah.
But I mean,
correct.
just stay the course. I mean, rates will come down. So but here's the thing that you're going to have to think about, Leo, is that when you go to refinance that property, are you spending more time in Florida or are you spending more time in Michigan? Because which one is your primary residence?
Michigan's my primary residence,
Okay.
and that's, of course, is due to homesteading. My taxes will probably double in Michigan, and it's a lake home, so the taxes are.
So you've got
be high.
That's you. Yeah, keep. I mean, if you can, right, keep your primary residence as Michigan. When you go to refinance it, we can do it as your primary residence, and you'll have a better rate, better cost, everything.
Yeah, Leo, you're actually using that interest-only arm to your benefit because you're using it properly. You're using it as a financial instrument to go ahead, and it gave you a minimum payment, but you're taking the time, effort, energy, and monetarily, and you're paying it down. That's a smart way to use that interest-only program. You're doing it the right way. Keep doing it that way.
Fantastic. Okay, great.
Leo,
Thanks,
Leo,
guys.
I hope I
Appreciate it.
see you.
Listen to you guys every week.
Leo, I hope I
Thank
see you
you.
at the turkey trot on Thursday in Naples.
I am flying home on Friday. So
Well,
my daughter lives down here in Miami, so we kind of spend Thanksgiving with her, and
All right.
then I head back
Nice.
the next day.
All right, perfect. Well, I'll be down there on Thursday for the turkey trot.
Oh, fantastic. I'll look for you on the news.
Thanks for the call, Leo. Appreciate
Hey, he'll
the call.
be on the news, okay?
Hey, he's not the only one calling in who wants a piece of Florida. If you're thinking about that vacation home, maybe that second home somewhere else, give us a call, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show, 9:30 if you're just joining us. Oh, there's tons of sports here. Keep it on 97.1 The Ticket. Harry, you're looking at me. What do you got? We're good? Oh, you got lost the
I can't
audio?
hear.
You're
I don't know.
good.
What'd you say,
Fix
man?
up Harry's. We're gonna get you a new adapter for that, Harry. We're
Okay,
gonna
well,
fix
if you
you
want to
up.
understand, like when you're on
I
the
missed
radio,
that.
right? We have our headphones in so we can hear each other. And even though if your headphones are not working, if they go out, you feel like you're in the deep abyss. And even though I can still hear people
I was
without
in
my headphones,
darkness. I was in darkness. What happened?
I feel
What
like I'm
missed, huh?
floating off in space.
Right.
John, I can't hear anymore, huh?
We're real estate.
What are those things that they used to stick in their ears?
Huh?
A megaphone?
I've got those.
Nancy Warson joins us, of course, Real Estate One. With the rest of us are all mortgage people talking about buying and stuff. And it was nice to have Leo call in. If you'd like to call in and tell us your 2 cents, definitely we want to take your calls at 248-539-9797. I love it. Later in life, he had lots of equity in his house. Took the equity out of his house here to buy a place for cash. Said he's got a wonderful place here in Michigan on that lake. Those are only going to go up in value. We were talking about it as sort of jokingly, like if Florida's not going to be the place, which we still think it's a great retirement, so many great states up along the East Coast, wherever you want to buy that retirement home, it should go up in value. He said all the right things.
He sure did. I think Michigan is the place to be. Really and truly, we've got everything, not to mention we're very vast. The UP, I think, is just now starting to be explored. And I hear time and time again where, people are staying within Michigan, but have this amazing vacation planned with their families. And I really think that, we have, and even north of the UP, Tobamore, if you're a scuba diver,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've done it. It is absolutely the best diving you're gonna see.
Besides, all the fresh water happens to be here, and that might be something you want to do is drink some water to survive.
People are coming from the outside, and we talk about it a lot. And people are coming from other states to not only be investors in Michigan because we're very affordable, but they also want a piece of the lakefront properties because you can still get lakefront with under $500,000 depending on what lake you're buying and what location. And there's a reason for that. So don't snooze on your own home state thinking that something's better somewhere else. I get our winters can be a little bit much, but fine. I like winter, because I like snowboard and so
Embrace it.
Yeah, I embrace it, right? It is what it is, right? But we have stuff in our beautiful backyard, like Torch Lake, stop it. Higgins Lake, get out of here, right? It's so beautiful. So I know that's where I'm going to be marching myself up is up north and get me a lakefront. Because
Let's fire up some first-time home buyers. Talk
Yeah.
about affordability. As we go across the country, every time the statistics show that Michigan is still right in the middle there is affordability. And again, plenty of jobs and engineers are coming here from all across the country. This is really going to be something that's going to explode here. And we're going to pump Michigan up, no doubt about that, all morning long. 248-539-9797. Again, Becky, you talked about a lot of great reasons to come here. And one of the things I wrote into the show was how real estate has changed. I go back into the early 90s when I first started and knocking down real estate offices, getting kicked out of some of them. But you know what? The quality of the agents, believe it or not, even though there's a ton of them, there's so many great agents out there now. It's because education is taking over. Let's talk a little bit about that, about who you work with truly matters.
Who you work with truly matters because, and I don't really want to get into what happened, late summer, but
You could tell us a horror story. We'll take it. Come on.
no, it's not a horror story.
Oh, it's a good one?
It's a good one?
No, it's the NAR thing.
Oh, okay.
I
don't
know
wanna
you can talk about it. We talk about it.
It actually forced us to, which, not to toot my own horn, but I've always done because I always felt like starting off with a meeting, starting off with, this is how I work. Is this how you work? If we can, work together, great. If you don't want to work that way, then I'm not.
not
This
your
isn't
person.
gonna be great.
It forced the uncomfortable
It did.
conversation about who's getting paid.
Yep.
Now, in our world, we have to disclose everything up front and we talk about it. Rate, cost, terms, everything like that. Now, finally, in the real estate, and I say finally, that realtors have to talk to clients about who's getting paid. And it's if you haven't had to do it in 35 years, like we have every day, it's very uncomfortable. So what I've heard is there are some people that they just want to list homes. That's all they want to do. They just want to list. They don't want to be buyer's agents.
There was a cleansing.
Okay.
So there's been an attrition rate. But if you have that conversation, I find that most people understand they have to pay. Everybody thought originally that they're going to get a house for free. But Nancy, I'm telling you, I think people understand that they have to pay.
I think that so I've overheard other agents talk about, well, you can buy for free, but you can't sell for free. Yeah, that's not really
That's
the
not
truth.
true. No.
The truth is that buyers are always paying.
Yeah.
The buyers are paying the commissions ultimately.
Yeah.
So
it's either built into the purchase price or you're coming out of your pocket.
Right.
And so now it's just the conversation is a little bit more pointed that way. And, I think that buyers, back in the day before this happened, if sellers were offering out a less than commission than what your agent charged, then, you would have to have the conversation. Otherwise, it was just breezed over. And, but now you have to have it. And it brings up a lot of other things that you have to talk about too. This is, maybe bringing more money to the table or, competing and things like that. And if you don't work with a skilled agent who knows how to do this kind of stuff, then you're really missing out on your house. And time again, you're like getting the bad news.
What you're talking about is high-level professional conversations, and the ones that have always been having them, we're going to continue to have them.
That's right.
A real estate agent unwilling to have that conversation even 10 years ago, it'd be like our loan officer being afraid to talk about rate, because those loan officers are out there too. They're going to just breeze on by it because they don't know what they're talking about sometimes. And that's not a dig, or they're afraid of it because they're not being honest and truthful because they think it's going to hinder someone. So the ones that are always doing business and doing the high level business, the honest, authentic business, you're always going to stand out from the crowd, always. And same as what you're talking about. Your conversations are the same today as they were probably 5 years ago.
So, John, remember in 2015 when Shrid was coming on, and we talked about him. What Shrid is, everybody, we always operated at a higher level, and we disclosed everything. So when the conversation started talking to other lenders about disclosures and things of that nature, we didn't have to adjust what we were doing because we had been doing it forever. Sometimes it only affects the people that haven't done it that way. And I got that feeling from the ruling this summer.
It's true. And luckily, Michigan always had to disclose agency and, things like that. We just had to take the conversation a little bit farther. Other states, it was, so my boyfriend lives in Ohio. He was looking at houses, and I walked into an open house with him, and this agent was going on and on and on about all the different changes because I guess Ohio didn't do it the way we did it.
Okay.
Well, that's not unusual.
You learn something new every day. All right, let's go out there. Salute to all of you striving to be the top percent, whether you're a loan officer or in the real estate world. Salute to you. I mean, definitely. The ones that are calling people back, communicating. I had a situation. Sure enough, I was supposed to close on a transaction. I brought it up last week. I'm not going to dwell on it. The other side of the transaction blew up. It was 60 days full of lies, bad approval letter, misinformation and bad communication. Get the house back on the market and help a family because, of course, when you don't close on your house, then they can't buy the next house, and there's usually trickle-down effect. And sure enough, it's going to affect 3 or 4 different families here. So, again, strive to be the top percent in your industry. I was at a real estate office at a closing, met a couple of new agents. I said, here's my phone number. Call me. And I'll answer those tough questions for you. You can call me anytime you want. And, just a nice thing out there, share information. And because there's such a huge difference between here and when we first started compared to the agents now. They
Nancy,
are educating.
Harvey showed me this alleged pre-approval letter.
I forgot you.
Yeah.
I do enjoy when Harry throws out alleged.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
It
was erroneous.
Harry was the ugliest one ever. Come on.
So Harvey comes in my office. He goes, you have to take a look. I said, I want to see this alleged approval letter. So I looked at it, and if you're a realtor, I mean, you would have sniffed this out in about 2 seconds.
Horrible.
And I said, I can't believe somebody would accept this without checking it out. And I know, listen, we relish the opportunity to go ahead and call a realtor when we go ahead and give a client an approval letter and say, hey, listen, we've checked everything out, tax returns, check stubs, verified their employment, ran their credit. And we have a process, and John knows it. John's a master. We run everything first, and so we know it's a bona fide approval letter. And we run it through our AUS system. But if you were to see, this wasn't even worth the paper it was printed on, and they wasted ink, and it never closed. from this other lender. Never closed, Harvey.
Here, that was a nasty one.
Harvey was so upset.
I only want to say that
The
just
biggest
'cause I wrote
disservice
it.
was the ink that it was wasted. All of it was a disservice.
I wrote this nasty. We are called the Hardcore
Expired.
Show.
Expired.
To those who list homes and don't communicate, shame on you. And yes, you had your unqualified drunk old man or old nasty lady as the lender. No licensing or qualification to provide that was required. Here are. Anyways, I wrote some nastiness.
Was that the naughty list? I don't know what just happened here.
I don't know. Sometimes on Wednesday, I say,
Is that turkey talk at the table? What's
a
happening?
rant here, but anyways, yeah. Be that top. I want to strive every day. I tell people all the time, call me at 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock. Let's talk about your transaction. If you don't like talking, all right, let's meet in person. If you're not doing that, please get out of the game.
Okay, I want to say something for you.
Families up. Go
So
ahead.
that
Becky.
passion, wait a minute, hold on. That passion
Here's
that
the
you hear
queen of
coming.
emailing me at 11 o'clock at night. Go ahead. You go.
Becky and I are texting each other. We're starting. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah, so I'm always hitting him up at 11 o'clock. I have a thought, Harry. I'm going to share it with you. But this passion that you hear out of Harvey, there's nothing that fires this man up more than people that are out here doing mediocre work. He takes a lot of pride in his pre-approvals, the way he puts a file together. It's very clean, and he gets real passionate and fired up about it. So that's what you're hearing out of him, because he can't stand when someone has done a disservice and it somehow makes us look bad, even though it has nothing to do with us. Because even we're the second or third call, we'd rather be the first, but we're going to be the last. But then we're stepping in with everyone's emotions really high. We have unrealistic expectations, and we have to take something from disclose to close in 7 business days sometimes. And we're going to do it because we see the flaw and we're going to tweak it and we're going to make it right. But it's like, call the right people the first time sometimes and have a couple conversations, because when you're talking to a high-level professional, whether it's us or somebody else, you're going to hear the difference, you're going to see the difference, and you will feel the difference.
There should be a reality show what goes on in the mortgage industry and in our office every day.
I
know.
reached out to
There should be-
Bravo
yeah,
a few
there
years
should be,
back.
John.
Here, you already know I reached
I
out
did,
to
yeah,
Bravo.
yeah.
I thought I got busted on that. Oh, hey, that
Andy
music
didn't pick
says
you up.
we're up against our third break of the day. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. There's going to be a ton
Having
of
some
sports.
fun.
Pat Caputo joins us right after. But if you've got a question, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Always a great time to have you join us here. We take your calls, 248-539-9797. Catch us at Capital Mortgage all week long at 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. Over 35 years, providing some great lending options and hooking you guys up. When you need a strong approval letter, when you got something tricky going on, you got to deal with the experienced folks. We'll get you all set up.
No scams, everybody. Don't be involved in that. And I got to give a shout out. I got a couple guys in the Midwest. Ohio State allegedly is playing Indiana today, and Indiana thinks they're a real football team. They're 10-0. They've played nobody.
Well, we're going to find out.
Now they're playing Ohio State. Now, look, if Ohio State doesn't beat them by at least 3 touchdowns, I mean, it's just that. Indiana's a good basketball school. I don't like the fact that they're playing a bad schedule and they're 10-0. That's my piece. I'm saying it. Yeah, I did. He wanted me to give a shout out for IU.
What's the line?
Football. It's a good question. What is the line?
Harry has no stock in DraftKings or FanDuel or
nothing.
anything.
I don't bet.
Everything that I was seeing on TV was showing Indiana was favored.
No. Against Ohio State, no way. Not even close.
Okay.
No. I think it's
Expired.
a 13 point.
Right.
I don't know. I don't do that. But bottom line is Ohio State's going to kill Indiana. Okay. And I can't stand. I'm not rooting for that. I want Indiana to win the game, but.
All right, we're going to talk about some really cool real estate stories. And if not, just a little reminder out there, we are not going to be on next Saturday because of Thanksgiving. So I want to show all the families out there a happy, safe, healthy holiday season. It kicked off with the snow a couple days ago here. And it's always such a great vibe here in Michigan. I know they had the tree lighting ceremony last night. Looked like a huge crowd everywhere. And some of the different cities are having some cool things. So, again, be careful. Don't drive drunk. Call me. I'll pick your sloppy ass. Oh, excuse me. I'll pick you up. I know, that might get
cut it off.
I'll pick you up. Call Uber and all that. Don't do that stupid stuff, but enjoy yourself. If you want to get sloppy, great. Just call me and I'll pick you up. No problem. Nancy, let's talk some real estate stories. I always say it's so fun. I was at a closing the other day. It's still the best thing going on out there. Families taking their family, using the equity, selling a house, using that equity to purchase the next house, and just keep moving forward. It's such a great thing. I met such a great family this weekend.
Emotional Harvey came into my office after the closing. He said, these are such nice people.
Maybe the nicest people,
there.
yeah.
He said they're great clients. They're such nice people. We had a great, warm closing. And I'm thinking to myself, that's where you go, right? That's where you go and see people. That's where it all happens. That's where all the hard work that you do and that we do comes together and makes that magic moment. Harvey was visibly emotional. It was great.
Oh, that's cute.
Paul just said, our producer Paul there behind there, Ohio State's favored by 11.5, Harry.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
They might cover.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Nance, real quick with a good story. Give me one good story here recently. Something like, I felt the warm fuzzies this week, and that is really, truly the best part about our job.
Well, okay, so immediately, without actually having to think about it, warm and fuzzies, a fellow agent called me and said, I think you're the girl for the job. I have a customer who wasn't planning on moving, but she moved into my area, and I think that she's going to sell. I think that you would be the perfect agent to sell her house in her area. And I thought, well, that's so nice.
Yeah.
And so, we chatted a little bit, and she's really, really, going to be a great agent to work with. I love actually forming relationships with other agents, whether it's in the Grand Rapids area, whether it's up north, whether it's on the east side. I don't care. I love networking that way also. There's more than one way to network, not just, pounding the pavement with, prospecting for buyers and sellers.
Well, professional referral like that is the highest compliment that you can get
I agree.
when someone in the industry thinks so highly of you and they are willing to bow out, or maybe it's just not their forte, right? Mm-hmm. That is an amazing. So hats off to you and that agent to know
Thank
that
you.
like that's not my place, but you're strong there, and that's where you hear about the collaboration over competition, right? You might go after the same listing, but they're going to remember how you treated them always, and you now have someone that you can be shoulder to shoulder with from here on out.
That's what I was going to say, that working with an agent that has the relationships with other agents is always a win, because those agents work together and want to continue to work together. So you're going to get your offer accepted with somebody like Nancy because of the relationship she has with other agents, because she can go in there and say, okay, how do we make this work? What do we need to do? Let's work together again. And time and time again, it pans out.
And the same time on our side, right? Who is on that pre-approval letter? It matters.
Absolutely.
It truly does. Sometimes your offer will get passed over because that that agent might have had a horrible experience with that particular lender or in general or whatever. And then sometimes like, hey, I know that John Kolb's name's on that pre-approval or Harvey Freed's name's on that pre-approval. They are strong. They're going to answer the phone at 11 o'clock at night if I need them in a clutch. And that's really what stands out after with these experienced people. It matters. And our job is to make sure that you stand out from the crowd.
But nothing tease me off a little more than when an agent uses my pre-approval letter to get an offer accepted and asks the listing agent to call me, and then they go with a different lender.
Yeah,
Nothing. No,
That's rapid fire shin kicks.
The listing agent says, "Hey, John, we chose this offer because you were on the file."
Exactly.
I said, "Well, it
happens.
Yes,
it happens. Those aren't good days. Hey, if you enter the housing market, Lawrence Young, of course, who's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, he says, I'm quoting, if you don't enter the housing market, you are in the renters class where wealth is not being accumulated. Pretty simple stuff. If you want to participate in the housing market, the sooner you get in, the sooner you accumulate wealth. That's a true statement. It will continue to go that way.
He's got a degree for that.
He's the chief economist
for a while.
Hey, he also explains in some other things that he is, Young projected that new home sales will be up 11% in 2025. So, boy, that one feels good to me. 8% higher in 2026. Again, we talked about inventory picking up. I hope this is all true.
This is true.
Yeah, it is true.
Absolutely.
Because when the rates are moving even ever so slightly, or like you mentioned earlier in the show, right, the people are okay with the high sixes rate, mid sixes rate. People are going to unlock their golden equity handcuffs and they're going to throw their hat in the ring and start purchasing because people are living in homes that they bought in 2020 because they wanted to win, for example.
So true.
And now they don't want these homes, or they overbought, or they bought in Boondocks or whatever because they thought they're never have to go back to work.
Right.
And here we are.
Never go to the office again.
Becky, $35 trillion in equity. It was a good idea to buy, folks.
Yeah, and these are well-qualified mortgages. That's the other thing, too, right? The housing bubble, this is not the same situation. These mortgages are well qualified. The average home equity, there's at least 60% equity in most of these homes if you bought in the last 5 years, right? So these are well-qualified mortgages. Lending, there's a boot on our neck. We have to make sure that everyone is in these boxes and there's equity there. You can't overextend your equity anymore. You just can't.
I dove into some other programs. So if you're thinking about becoming an investor, you definitely want to call us at Capital Mortgage Fund. We have several programs, either for your second home or for your investment property. So we have a special program. Of course, we fund, underwrite, and close all our own transactions, deal with the real mortgage banker. So if you're thinking about a rental, give us a call. Also, the DSCR program is very interesting. I've been diving into that. It works. Again, this is a program for people that want to start a business, want to buy one or two rentals.
John's got a great program on that.
You can't buy that house as your primary residence because you don't have income, though.
That's correct, John. And I dove into that all week long now. And sure enough, there's going to be some bad players out there. And I wish somebody good luck this week. Yeah, I really did, because she's about to sign an attestation at closing that says she's not living in the property. Sure enough, you can't live in the property. That's a no-no.
Right.
If you want,
this is a rental investment property program, not something to get around showing income.
Yeah,
yes.
it allows you to go ahead, and if you show that you're making $1 more on that rental income, then you get approved without showing your income. So we took a deep dive in that. We think it's a great investor program, but it's got to be done legitimately.
But hey, guess what? Your rate's not 6.5%.
Oh no, your rate's 8.5%.
Right?
I
Yeah,
mean,
you've got a
It's
higher
an
rate.
investment program.
Rates shouldn't matter for investments.
Yes.
They don't matter.
If you want that to be an investment property and your rate's 8.5%, bump your rent up to offset it.
I'll tell you.
Okay, so touch that for a second, right? So when we talk about home ownership and, primary homes, again, there's a reason why the investor does not care what the interest rate is, because they're going to cash flow that property. If you are renting and you want to have your own home, have that same mentality, because you can always refinance later. The interest rate is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. It's about affordability, and we can very easily find what you can afford and keep yourself from being cash flowed by somebody else if you want to. But if you want to be, a real estate mogul, we're going to help you do that too. We can build your real estate portfolio. We can wear the different hats, but go into the conversations with your eyes open.
Yeah, you've got to use that program. The call that we had this morning with Leo, he's using that interest-only loan to his benefit. He's got an artificially low rate at the time, and he's paying more money on the principal to pay it down. So that's what you can do. You don't use the house as a piggy bank. Use the mortgage as a tool to go ahead and create wealth for you.
And that's a stepping stone loan for Leo.
For sure.
Right?
That's right.
So that's when rates come down to the point that he's comfortable, he'll jump back into a fixed product to get it paid back off.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
By the way,
We're going to
last year
church
this
today.
time, last year this time, the rates were 7.97, just a smidge under 8%. So rates are actually lower right now than they were last year. We talked about that window at the beginning of the show.
It's a Thanksgiving miracle.
Now, exactly. Now there's a great opportunity to definitely go ahead and purchase a house. And again, maybe your lease isn't quite up, so you definitely want to give us a phone call on that. You can reach out to your current landlord and say, hey, I'm thinking about getting out of here. You can go on a month to month. You can set yourself up for success.
As you're making your goals for 2025, this should be part of your goal. Buy a house. If you're not in a house, buy an investment property. If you don't have one, put real estate on your goal sheet for 2025.
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes renting makes sense, okay? But don't be in there for life, right? Let it fit that moment in time for you. Get used to being budgeted and what you can afford, what you're comfortable with. But the end goal is always get a piece of your own land, get a piece of your own real estate, build your legacy,
piece of
build
that
your wealth.
action.
There
Yeah.
you go. Listen, everybody out there, have a happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time off that you're going to have coming up this week. Thanksgiving is always my favorite holiday because you get everybody together. And it's just being thankful for everything that you have.
Yep.
Okay.
And shout out to
That's
my Oakwood
really
Gym
it.
peeps too. I know they listen to us every Saturday morning, so shout out to you guys too.
All righty, that's going to wrap it up. Pat Caputo coming up with Sports Nets. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll see you soon.